All right, well, we are 15 races into the 2019 season, and gentlemen, we are not far from the playoffs.
Creeping up. I know.
We have drivers that are outside of the playoffs right now that may have a chance to get in and break through into that playoff bubble. I'm going to read the last 4 that will be into the playoffs if it stands today. That would be Suarez, Byron, Larson, and Johnson. And then the bottom, so if you're going from 17 down, it would be Newman, Jones, Menard, Stenhouse, Austin Dillon, and Chris Buescher that are outside. Who out of those outside groups, starting with Newman, is most likely to get into the playoffs?
What do you got?
Do I have to fall on the sword first?
One bad race, so I mean, this is throwing darts at a dartboard in pitch black,
is a
basically.
guess.
Yeah, this is a really interesting playoff bubble. I mean, we've had some compelling races in the years past, but you know the complexion of the playoff picture is really interesting right now. I think if you're looking at kind of 2 different ways. I think if you're looking at somebody who points their way in, I think you have to go with Newman in terms of not making too many mistakes, staying, keeping his nose clean, and just really needling and annoying you into the playoffs. The way he kind of does, he sticks around and he's going to be there. In terms of who might win with, get in with a win, I think I look to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and what he might be able to do at Daytona, which he's done in the past. I think there's a chance there, and I think there's also a chance for him as strong as he's been at Bristol as well. So there's a couple of places where I could see him picking that up, and those are the places. So tough playoff picture though.
All right, I'm going to counter every single point you have for Stenhouse.
I thought you might.
The guy that won Daytona last year, Eric Jones, is really good at Bristol. Eric Jones, a guy who historically, if you look back, I think starting at Chicagoland for the past 2 seasons, has rattled off top 10s like crazy. He's got to make something happen. He's got to make something happen soon. This is his time of year. I kind of compare him a little bit to Tony Stewart in terms of when it starts to get hot outside, he really, really starts to work his way to the front. And he's had a couple, good runs. I think if you're going to put your money on somebody, I think it's going to be Eric Jones.
Won Daytona in July last year. We're heading to Daytona.
I don't think he needs to win to get in.
Okay, you think he can point his way in?
I think he can point his way in.
All right.
I think the tougher part of that is who of those, bottom 4 that are like the last 4 in right now, who's that going to be that's going to knock out of that list? Because those are some still fairly heavy hitters that are in that group.
They're heavy hitters, but it's not insane to think that we might not see any of those guys in there. It's Suarez, Byron, Larson, or Jimmy. And I'll tell you what, Larson and Jimmy need to get it together.
Those are the 2 that surprised me the most, that they are that close to the bottom.
They've got to get it together. They know they've got to get it together. I mean, I don't think we're not, breaking news to them. Oh, I need to run better to be secure in the playoffs. Duh. But it's all within a race. One bad race, and then you get down to that 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th, and you're thinking about a stage or 2 stage finishes could potentially knock you out and put another guy in. That's how close this battle is.
Well, and that cutoff between Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman is what, 3 points?
It's 3 points,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I just think Larson and Jimmy have to be very careful moving forward.
I just think there's also a lot of wild cards that could sneak up. We've got 2 road courses that can change the complexion of everything coming up in this final stretch to the end of the regular season. We've got Daytona in that mix. We've got the Bristol night race. There are several different races that can really, the playoff picture can really hinge on those. So I think there's still a lot of wild cards, a lot of time left before we get to the end of that.
Well, when we start talking about the playoff picture as well, I mean, you don't just need to make your way into the top 16 if you want to make a run of the championship. You need to bank playoff points, because nothing's going to save you once we eliminate 4 drivers and go down to the round of 12. So urgency's up, not just to make it in, but you need to start winning stages and you need to start winning races.